So you've composed music for movies and video games. What I would like to know is, what's the difference in producing music for each of the mediums? What different things do you have to take into account when making for a movie versus a game?
Well, I can speak from my own experience. Other composers might have something different to say, but for TV and film, you have to hit the picture. In other words, if there's, a fight scene like in Rocky, I had to hit the picture with accents. And I had to mark certain things with accents and rhythm and everything. Whereas with video games, at least again in my experience, they basically say, give us 2 minutes of action music that we can loop. They don't give me any guidance beyond that. And that's kind of nice. That's kind of freeing, I didn't have to worry about hitting picture. But that's the main difference. It's basically saying, style. Here's what we want. Please give us 2 minutes of that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, I recently watched the Transformers movie, and I really liked the soundtrack. And I was wondering how you got started in your music career.
I started with piano lessons at the age of 5 at a Catholic school with a nun that was about 4 foot high. And she would whack my hands with a metal bar when I wasn't playing well, and she would give me a gold star on my music when I was playing good. That was my first, it wasn't a career, but that's how I got started in music. And as time went by, my interest in rock music just kept growing and growing. And by the time I was in my teens, I realized I could listen to a piece of music on the radio, and I could go to a piano and I could play it. And that was inspirational for me. And that led to me, really honing my keyboard chops, so to speak. And then I got in several cover bands. That's really where it started to, I started to learn how to play with other musicians. And I played in like several back in the eastern part of the United States. I played in probably 7 bands over the course of many years, and that taught me a lot. And I had gone as far as I could go in the area that I was living, and it was my manager at the time that suggested I go to a place where music is more prominent. I chose Los Angeles because that's where a lot of the music that I loved was being created. And my wife and I moved out there in 1981, and with no thought, I think I mentioned this earlier, I had no thought of composing for film or TV at the time. I wanted to be a session musician. That was my goal in moving out to Los Angeles. 1982, I meet Sylvester Stallone's brother, Frank. Frank, we worked together for a while, and then I heard from his brother that he was going to be writing and directing this new movie called Staying Alive, starring John Travolta. Sequel to Saturday Night Fever. I'm giving you a long answer here, but I want to let you know how things go. So that's how I got into, that was my first job in Hollywood, was co-writing 7 songs for the movie Staying Alive, one of which ended up being top 10 hit for 2 weeks. And that led to Rocky IV and Transformers, so it grew from there.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.